Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Mark if you're new here, and this is episode 7 of my Studio Ghibli review series where I'm watching, reviewing, and ranking all of the Studio Ghibli films. It's been a while, so our last episode was the 29th of April, so that's about 2.5 months ago now. Mum and I were usually doing these, but since then it's kind of been impossible to find a 2.5 hour gap during the day where we could watch the film then record it, because it's better to watch it recorded the video during the day so that there's plenty of light coming in. So I'm probably just going to be doing the rest of these by myself. So the last film we did watch was Pom Poko. We watched that maybe 2 months ago, month and a half ago by now. Yeah, it was quite good, quite an interesting concept. It was about these raccoons who, the place where they lived was getting wrecked for urban development, and they were kind of like magical raccoons that could transform into humans, and it's quite interesting, quite funny, and there's some kind of weird parts in it. So I put it in 6th, above Ocean Waves and Porco Rosso. So yeah, and I think Mum maybe had it like in the middle of her list or so. So yeah, today's film is called Whisper of the Heart. It came out in 1995. This is on Wikipedia. It is 1995 Japanese animated romantic coming-of-age drama film directed by Yoshifumi Kondo and written by Hayao Miyazaki, based on the 1989 manga of the same name by Aoi Hiiraki. Says here it was the first theatrical Studio Ghibli film to be directed by someone other than Miyazaki or Isao Takahata. We have music by Yuji Nomi, cinematography by, I don't know how to pronounce this one, Atsushi, apologies, Okoi, edited by Takeshi Sayama. He seems to be editing most of these. Its box office was 3.15 billion yen. So just below the details it says, Whisper of the Heart was Kondo's only film as director before his death in 1988. Studio Ghibli had hoped that Kondo would become the successor to Miyazaki and Takahata. It was the only theatrical Ghibli film not directed by Miyazaki or Takahata for 7 years until The Cat Returns was released in 2002. So the film is set in Tama City, Tokyo. There's some station, or it must be a train station, but I don't want to try and pronounce it because I will get it very wrong. And the film starts off with Country Road by John Denver, and I really enjoyed that. What a great song it is, and that was a great intro and really got you into the film straight away. So the film, the main character is a girl called Shizuku, who is 14, and she is in, I don't know what it is. Junior high. So she's in junior high and she's wanting to go into senior high, I think. The plot. Shizuku Shugashima is a 14-year-old student at Mukaihara Junior High School, where she is best friends with Yuko Harada, living in Tokyo with her parents Izako and Seiya, as well as her older sister Shiho. Shizuku is a bookworm and is keen on writing. During an ordinary evening, she looks through the checkout cards in her library books. She discovers they have all been checked out by Seiji Amasawa. Over the next few days, Shizuku encounters a young man, later revealed to be Seiji, who often annoys her. Finding a cat riding a train, Shizuku follows it to discover an antique shop run by Shiro Nishi. In the shop is a cat statuette named the Baron. Later at the antique shop, Shizuku sings Take Me Home Country Roads, a song she has been translating for her school graduation, accompanied by Seiji and Nishi. Seiji is revealed to be the grandson of Nishi, and Shizuku and Seiji befriend each other. Seiji is learning to make violins to follow his dream as a master luthier. Don't know what that is, but I assume it's about violins. Days after the two meet, Seiji leaves for Cremona, Italy for a 2-month study with a master violin maker, but not before professing his admiration for Shizuku's talents. Firming her resolve, Shizuku decides to test her talents as well. Discussing with Yuku, she decides to pursue her writing seriously during the 2 months. She asks Nishi if she can write about the Baron, to which Nishi grants his consent on the condition that he will be the first to read the finished story. Shizuku begins to concoct a fantasy story featuring herself as the female protagonist, the Baron as the male hero who is looking for his lost love, Louise, and the cat she followed from the train, who is among other names known as Moon and Muta, as the story's villain who took her from him. Devoting her time to writing, Shizuki eats snacks, stays up until early in the morning, and her high school grades drop. Shizuki argues with her family over her grades, and as she continues to push herself into finishing the story before Seiji returns, she begins to lose heart. When her story is complete, Shizuku delivers the manuscript to Nishi. After Nishi reads Shizuku's writing and gives her his benevolent assessment, she breaks down in tears as the stress of the last 2 months finally turns into relief. Consoling her with udon, Nishi reveals to Shizuku that when he studied in Germany in his youth, he found his first love, Louise. They discovered the twin statuettes of the Baron and his female companion in a cafe, but they could only purchase them singly because the female statuette was being repaired at the time. Nishi kept the Baron while Louise would hold on to the Baron's companion, and they and the two cat statuettes would reunite at a later time. However, the two lovers and the statues were subsequently separated during World War II and were never reunited. In the English dub, Seiji tells Shizuku that the Baron has a missing partner during her second visit to the shop, but in the Japanese dialogue, he says his grandfather won't tell anyone the story of the Baron, and it is coincidence, intuition, or serendipity that Shizuku creates a missing partner for him, much to Nishi's surprise. Deciding she wants to attend high school to learn more about writing, Shizuku is returned home by Nishi and announces to her mother that she will return to studying for her entrance exams full time. The next morning, she encounters Seiji on his bicycle. He has returned a day early. In the English dub, he says he has decided to finish high school before returning to Cremona to become a luthier. The Japanese dialogue says he will be returning after middle school graduation as planned. The two ride Seiji's bike to a lookout and watch the sunrise over the city, where Seiji professes his love for Shizuku and proposes future marriage. She happily accepts. So that is the plot. So my general thoughts were I really liked this film. It had the most simplistic plot of all the films so far, but all the characters were interesting and had some cool locations. So characters, I would give a 9 out of 10. All the characters were quite interesting, and there was no over the top kind of ones, but they all had their own interesting parts of the story. Music, I'd probably give an 8 out of 10. Again, not a whole lot of music, but it was quite good. And then the story, I would also give an 8. It was really straightforward. You could see what the ending was kind of from early on. There was no real plot twists or developments along the way. Well, like surprising developments. So yeah, I suppose the main thing I liked about this was kind of the details in the background of, in people's houses, like their bookshelves. All the books had like titles, and like they weren't just blank. Sometimes things in the background like that are kind of just blank. What else? Buildings, road signs, pieces of paper. It was everything was given attention, and everything looked real, and nothing was just blank or like that. So my old rankings were before this one was 8 we had Ocean Waves, number 7 we had Poco Rosso, 6 Pom Poko, 5 Castle in the Sky, 4 Kiki's Delivery Service, number 3 Only Yesterday, 2 Spirited Away, and number 1 My Neighbor Totoro. So my new rankings after watching Whisper of the Heart are Number 9, Ocean Waves. 8, Porco Rosso. 7, Pom Poko. 6, Castle in the Sky. 5, Kiki's Delivery Service. 4, Only Yesterday. And then number 3 is going to be Whisper of the Heart. And then number 2, Spirit of the Way. And number 1, My Neighbor Totoro. So yeah, really solid film. And I would probably watch it again. And so the next episode, episode 8, I think, will be about Princess Mononoke, which was 1997 it came out, and it was directed by Hayao Miyazaki. So yeah, that is my new rankings for the Studio Ghibli films, and see you in the next episode, and hope you've enjoyed, and all the best.